You almost stopped. Right before something was about to work, you almost stopped. Maybe you've already done it. Maybe there's something in your past, a project, a relationship, a version of yourself, that you walked away from 3 steps before the finish line. And if you're honest, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because there's a specific feeling that comes right before a breakthrough, a feeling so heavy, so convincing, so perfectly designed to make you turn back, that most people mistake it for a sign that they're going the wrong direction. They're not. They're just about to win. And this is for them. This is for you. Right now. I need you to understand something that no one ever told you clearly enough, and once you see it, you'll never unsee it. Resistance is not random. The darkness that comes before the dawn is not a coincidence of timing. It's a pattern. It's consistent. It's almost mathematically predictable. And the people who understand this pattern, the people who recognize the final wave of resistance for what it actually is, those are the people who break through. Everyone else retreats. Let me tell you about a man named David. David had spent 2 years building something he believed in completely. A business. Not a side hustle, not a hobby. A real bet on himself. He'd turned down a stable salary. He'd sacrificed weekends, sleep, relationships. He'd made mistakes that cost him money he didn't have, and learned lessons that cost him even more time. And just when things were beginning to show real signs of momentum, the calls coming in, the numbers moving, the vision starting to take shape, everything collapsed at once. 3 clients cancelled in the same week. A partner he trusted pulled out. His savings hit a number so low it kept him awake staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., running calculations he already knew the answer to. And the voice that had always been there, quiet until now, grew loud. This is the sign. This is the universe, telling you to stop. Realistic people know when to quit. You gave it your best. It's okay to let go. It wasn't the universe. It was the final test. The most brutal feature of breakthroughs is this. They are always preceded by the moment that most looks like failure. Not because the universe is cruel, but because real transformation, the kind that actually sticks, the kind that changes who you are permanently, only arrives after you've been tested at the level the new version of you will be required to operate at. The caterpillar doesn't know it's becoming a butterfly. All it knows is the dissolving. All it feels is the complete loss of the shape it used to have. It doesn't know that the liquid it's becoming is the raw material for wings. You are in the dissolving, and you are not falling apart. You are being rebuilt. Think about every major breakthrough in human history, every great artist, every founder, every person who changed something meaningful in the world. Go look at their story right before the turning point. It's almost always the same. The darkest chapter sits immediately before the chapter everyone celebrates. The rejection that came right before the acceptance, the bankruptcy right before the reinvention, the complete collapse right before the beginning. This is not poetic coincidence. This is the structure of growth. Because growth doesn't happen in the comfortable stretches. It happens in the friction, in the resistance, in the places where every part of you that is still small, still afraid, still clinging to the familiar, tries one final time to pull you back. And it pulls hard. It knows exactly what language to use. It knows your specific fears. It knows your history. It knows what worked last time to make you retreat. And right before your breakthrough, it uses everything it has. This is why the darkest moment feels so real. It is real as your determination, as real as your vision, as real as the version of you that you're becoming. But it's not the truth. It's the last test. Now, I want to talk about something that almost nobody talks about because it's uncomfortable and it costs something to say out loud. Most people don't fail because they're not capable. Most people don't fail because the opportunity wasn't there. Most people don't fail because they were unlucky. Most people fail because they quit when they were 3 feet from gold. Napoleon Hill told a story about a man named R.U. Darby. His uncle had caught gold fever, staked a claim in Colorado, and started digging. He found ore. He raised money, bought machinery, and began mining in earnest. And then the vein disappeared. They dug for weeks. Nothing. Completely gone. In desperation, they sold the equipment to a junk dealer for a fraction of its cost and walked away defeated. The junk dealer brought in a mining engineer. The engineer studied the terrain, calculated the fault lines, made a simple assessment. The vein was 3 feet from where Darby's uncle had stopped digging. 3 feet. The gold was there the entire time, just beyond the point where the frustration became unbearable. Now ask yourself, where are you 3 feet from your breakthrough? Where have you been digging long enough, deep enough, consistently enough? But the pressure of not seeing results has made the voice of retreat louder than the voice of perseverance. Because the voice of retreat doesn't announce itself as cowardice. It announces itself as wisdom. It says, you've been working so hard, you deserve rest. Maybe this path isn't meant for you. Maybe it's time to be realistic. And it says it with kindness, with the warmth of someone who appears to have your best interest at heart. Don't listen. Not right now. Not when you're this close. Here's the truth about timing that most people miss entirely. There is a window in every great attempt, a specific window of time, where the work you've already put in is about to compound. The seeds you planted are about to break through the surface. The connections you've been building are about to crystallize. The skills you've been developing are about to cross a threshold where they begin to produce exponential rather than linear results. And this window, this exact window, often looks from the inside like nothing is working, because growth isn't linear, it's logarithmic. For a long time, nothing seems to move. You pour in effort, time, sacrifice, belief, and the needle barely shifts. And then one day, seemingly without warning, everything accelerates at once. But you have to still be there when it accelerates. You have to still be in the game. And so the question isn't whether you have the talent. The question isn't whether the opportunity exists. The question isn't even whether you've made the right moves. The question is whether you will still be standing when the window opens. I want to give you 3 things to hold on to right now, for the moments when the resistance peaks and the voice gets loudest and everything inside you is looking for a reason to walk away. The first is this: the feeling of this isn't working is not evidence. It is weather. Weather passes. It is not the terrain. The terrain, your effort, your growth, your accumulated forward motion, that is permanent. The feeling of stagnation is temporary. The work you've done is not. When you feel like nothing is working, that feeling is information about your current emotional state. It is not a reliable report on your actual progress. Don't make permanent decisions based on temporary weather. The second is this: you are not who you were when you started. Read that again. Every attempt, every failure, every correction, every rejection, every setback has been building a version of you that didn't exist before. You cannot see that person clearly right now because you're still in the middle of the process. But look back 12 months, look back 2 years, the distance you've traveled, the things you now handle with ease that once paralyzed you, the version of you standing here right now, that person is the evidence. You've already won more than you're giving yourself credit for. And the third is this: the people who make it are not the most talented, not the most connected, not the most resourced. They are the most relentless, not the loudest, not the most aggressive, relentless, quietly, stubbornly, undramatically committed to showing up again, and again, and again, past the point where it was exciting, past the point where people were watching, past the point where quitting would have been socially acceptable and even celebrated as self-awareness. Just past that point is where everything changes. David didn't quit. He made one more call that week, the one he was already planning not to make because he was convinced the answer would be no. The call turned into a meeting. The meeting turned into a partnership. The partnership became the pivot that changed everything, not because it was luck, because he was still there, still in motion, still refusing to let the darkness of the penultimate chapter convince him the story was over. So here is what I need you to do, right now, before you close this. Before you go back to whatever the voice has been pulling you away from, think about the thing you've been about to give up on. Feel it clearly, the tiredness around it, the doubt, the sense that maybe it's not worth it. Sit in all of that for exactly 1 moment. Let yourself feel how heavy it is. Don't push it away. And then ask yourself one question. What if this is the final wave? What if the resistance is this loud precisely because you're this close? What if everything you've been building, every sacrifice, every late night, every version of yourself you had to let go of to become who you're becoming, is right now sitting on the edge of compound interest? What if the only thing standing between you and the breakthrough you've been working toward is the decision you're about to make in this exact moment? Because that might be the truth, and you'll never know unless you stay. The last chapter before the victory is always the hardest chapter to write, but it is the chapter that makes the whole story worth reading. Keep going. You're 3 feet from gold.